Welcome in, my wandering soul. I am so happy that you found your way here today. We are going to be drawing cards for the incoming energies for the month of November. We will also look at some of the energies that are leaving from the month of October. In my meditation, I saw a slingshot, and I feel that there has been this long, drawn-out process of being pulled back and launched forward. Or there's something about connecting and separation as well. So however you see fit, that may resonate with some of you, maybe not. But I do feel like something is being shed here. Something is being let go of, or it is transforming in a new way. Something new is growing in a space of liminality, in a space of darkness or unknown. So, having said that, remember that the cards that I draw are not necessarily about telling your future or giving you instruction. They are here simply to offer a fresh perspective and remind you of the power that you already carry within you to shape your future. However, if today's message doesn't feel like yours, it may be for another traveler, or it may reveal itself in time. Either way, please use your discernment and take what resonates, leaving the rest behind for someone else. So because I had a feeling you would stop by, I have drawn 3 soul paths for you to choose from with 3 crystals. Before choosing, take a deep breath, settle in, and set an intention to receive what serves you the most. And when you're ready, follow your intuition to the pile that calls to you. You'll find the timestamps in the description box. Now, for those who would like a close-up of the crystals to help in making a selection, let me do that right now. For Soul Path 1, we have the Mookaite Jasper Stone. For Soul Path 2, we have the Peacock Ore. And for Soul Path 3, we have the Chrysolite Stone. So with that, I'll leave you to select the pile you're intuitively drawn to, and I look forward to connecting with you in your reading. See you soon. Hello, my Soul Path 1. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Mookaite Jasper Stone, and for your soul path, I was drawn to this stone specifically. And with this stone, I got the sense of adventure. Whether that's an adventure that you choose to go on, something that feels spontaneous or exciting, or something new that you are doing that you never thought that you would do. I feel like there's something in the works with that in the month of November, or maybe you are doing something of that nature in the month of November. But either way, there's something about protectiveness as well. So if you had any fears, now use your discernment. This doesn't necessarily speak to every situation, especially if there's a sense of inherent risk or extreme risk. So I just thought I'd put that clarification on there. But there's something about you doing something out of your comfort zone and having some fears or doubts or trepidations about it. But knowing that this particular adventure, you are protected within it. So you might come across some challenges along the way, but know that you are resourceful enough to get through this or to move through this, to navigate it. And I think you're going to see a sense of self-growth in this because it's going to open you up to aspects of yourself that you did not even know existed. So that's actually really exciting. And maybe you should be excited about it. So for some, maybe you've never traveled outside of your community, your town, your city, your province, your state, even your country. But this could be a significant physical travel to somewhere new, maybe overseas or to a new country that speaks a different language. And this might be scary because how will you get through this trip without knowing the language or the customs or the culture? There's an element of research that I'm being guided to inspire within you, to do a bit of research to tamper down some of the fears so that you're not going in blind and you have some kind of idea or plan about the customs or the language or the food. So there's something about gathering information before you take this journey so that you have a little bit of a grounded approach. So let's get into the reading now. And I'm going to pull a card from this deck. We're going to look at energies that are leaving. And then we're going to pull from another deck of energies that are incoming or lining to that growth we spoke about within the collective message in the intro. So what is leaving? What is transforming for Soul Path 1 in the month of November? What is leaving or transforming? So you've got two here. So we have heat and pressure with the furnaces. And we have snake handler, sham, and shady deal. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Now, I don't know if there has been someone in your life, this feels like a scam caller, pressuring you to buy, to purchase, to send money, to do this, to do that. There's a panic to do something. And in that, there is an inherent risk. So we're speaking about adventure. Let's talk about the adventures that you feel pressured to take. And this may be for some and not all. Be mindful and discerning is the feeling that I'm getting for the month of November, regardless of what kind of adventure it is. Now, if you feel excited about doing it and you feel comfortable, there is that sense of ease. Even though there's a little bit of fear or doubt, that's okay. To me, that's a sense that you're just stepping out of your comfort zone. But if there's this pressure from someone around you, pressure from a stranger even, to do something or make a decision under a deadline or a timeline, and that gives you a sense of, ooh, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to do it, but I'm feeling panicked. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling like I need to work fast. That is a red flag. So I don't know if that is something that is leaving, that is something that you are putting behind you, or that is something to be simply aware of. But I feel in the past you may have been pressured to do things that you didn't feel comfortable doing, and things that didn't excite you because there was maybe some peer pressure, or maybe you were connected to somebody within a relationship that made you feel pressured to do something too fast, too soon, right now. And I feel like there's been some kind of growth in this area of your life. You are using more discernment. You are being more confident in what you want, what you need, how you feel within your body as well. So with this snake here in this person's hands, I feel like you can see beyond that, not persona, but that mask of I can see what you're doing because I feel it within my body. So there's something about bodily sensations, or even like a reaction within your body, a bubbling up of emotion or reaction, something to pay attention to. But I feel like you're not pressuring yourself more than anything. So I feel like pressure from others is leaving. And bottom of the deck, we have clairvoyant, openness and listening. So I do think that is an energy that you are stepping into a lot more of, is that you're trusting yourself a lot more. You may even be saying no to a deal or an offer or an opportunity that looks good on the surface but doesn't feel quite right. There's something that is amiss. So let's get a sense for what's growing, what's coming in. the month of November, and then we'll get tarot cards to get a little more detail. So for Soul Path 1, what's incoming, what's growing in this place? What's incoming for the month of November, please? I feel like you're leaving behind someone. And maybe that is a scary thing, but it's also like, yeah, this is correct. Even though it's uncomfortable, it is correct. Again, because of that listening and that openness. So that feels like too much, although I'm going to look at the periwinkle. Veneration and legacy with the number 11, so that is the Justice card. Okay, we got 2, so we will take 2. So I do almost wonder if there's some sense of freedom that's coming through. Freedom from this energy. A strength and a tenacity to move beyond it. So it feels like a very sticky energy. So again, it's like there's this pressure to stay somewhere that you don't feel comfortable. There's this pressure to do something, and you're being released from that. So we have the Camilla and the Star Jasmine as the incoming energy. And we have understanding and acceptance with spiritual gifts and abundance. So it's like you are understanding what this is all about because you are understanding something within you. And you have learned something about yourself so that you can change maybe your choices, your decisions, maybe even have a little more confidence, courage, and strength to have more discernment, to say no, to feel comfortable in that discomfort. There's something about disappointment coming through. So you maybe have feared disappointment in the past, disappointing others. And so you've said yes when you've really wanted to say no. I'm getting the 4 of Cups energy coming through here. But the yeses that you've been saying yes to haven't really been fulfilling, or maybe have disappointed you in some way. And you're no longer willing to sacrifice your freedoms, your pleasure, your gifts even, to appease someone else who may not be for your highest good, who may not have your best intentions at heart. There's a lot to do with self-acceptance here and seeing the beauty in who you are, what you have to offer, and really aligning with that a lot more. And there's a loyalty coming through here, or a commitment to self, which is really beautiful. A deeper love for self. And that self-acceptance, again, is coming through very strongly here. So let's get some tarot cards to get a little more information. A little more information for Soul Path 1. Their month of November. There's a lot of tenacity coming through with the Star Jasmine as well, that you can do the difficult things, you can do the hard things, as uncomfortable as they might be. So we have the 9 of Pentacles in reverse as your current energy. When the 9 of Pentacles is in reverse, there's a sense of lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, not valuing who you are and what you have to offer, or others not valuing you or seeing you for what you have to offer. There's also a sense of environment that is possibly challenging you at this time and not aligning to what you see as beautiful. And we have the moon here, which is crossing you. So again, there's this unknown of, what do I find beauty in? What do I value in life and within myself? This feels like a very personal exploration for you in the month of November. And again, I think you're going to discover something that you hadn't seen before. You're going to see some kind of beauty. You're going to understand something from the past. Maybe understand some kind of choice that you've made. And this is a bit of a foggy energy, so this could feel very mysterious. You could reveal even some secrets that you've kept even from yourself, things that you have suppressed because maybe they were too difficult to face. I feel like the month of November is going to be a month of personal discovery, a month of self-growth, self-love, and aligning to your values a lot more than you have in the past. Allow this month to be a question mark, because the question mark is going to guide you forward. Because whatever this past energy has been, this pressure to maybe perform, this pressure to be somebody you're not, the pressure to do something that really isn't in alignment, maybe throwing you off a path that you feel called to, or maybe suppressing a certain aspect of you. Let's get more on this past energy. So we do have the Six of Swords, and that kind of flew out in reverse first, but there's something here that you've had a difficult time moving on from, progressing on from. There's something within the mind, within a belief system, within what you're telling yourself, what you're thinking. There could be some overthinking here, and it's preventing you from moving forward. There's almost this feeling of, if I stay here, I know what I'm getting. It may not be the best, but it's familiar. And if you do move forward, you know that you'll have to move through some questions, questioning your values, questioning who you are, questioning your worth, your path, your way forward, your actions, your belief system. So it's not a quick and easy make a decision and move on. So I want you to be gentle with yourself and compassionate with yourself. Give yourself a break is what I'm hearing. Let's look at the root. So maybe give you some information on how to move through. So we have the Hanged Man in reverse. Yeah. The Hanged Man in reverse willingly puts themselves in an uncomfortable position so that they can see something from a different perspective. And I believe this is what you are currently working through, is this perspective shift to see something differently, to gain enlightenment. And you may have avoided that because of the darkness, because of the I don't knows, because you can't see the next step or the next 10 steps along this new choice that you have to make, along a new path that you would like to take. But I feel there's a lot of enlightenment in the discomfort of the unknown. There's a lot of light and a lot of beauty in the unknown, in those questions. While it may be more uncomfortable than this situation that you may be trying to move on from, I feel like it will lead you to more growth and beauty on the other side of it. It will help you connect with and ground yourself into who you are at the core, who you are at the root, outside of this situation, outside of this person. Let's see what you're aware of in this particular scenario. And I felt that. You know, I don't have to tell you, I feel like you know that there is something bigger calling you. And there's a lot of confusion here with the Seven of Cups that didn't fall on the table, but it is here. It is hidden, or was hidden. So there's a lot of questions of, how do I feel? What is my emotions? What are other people's emotions? What am I taking on emotionally as my own to fix or to change or to understand? I feel like there's been a lot of external influences, but this is a moment to pause, to think about your purpose, your motivations, your higher aspirations. I feel like you know there's something calling you, there's something inspiring you to move forward. And with the Judgment card, it is a higher calling, quite possibly. It could just be a path that feels more aligned, more divine, more connected. And this may require you to make a judgment about yourself or the situation or another person that you might be dealing with, so that you can see things for what they truly are. And not that you're not. I think you're fully aware of that. But to really solidify that, yes, this person, this situation doesn't feel aligned anymore, doesn't feel correct, and I need to move towards what does. And that isn't necessarily a judgment on the person. That isn't necessarily placing blame on the situation, the person, even yourself. This just is what it is and what it needs to be. So this is Phoenix rising energy. This is also Pluto energy, and Pluto is a really tough planet because it requires deep transformation for the highest good, for the greatest good. So let's see incoming energy moving forward. I told you I felt the Four of Cups, but I love that it's in the reverse because you are moving on. You are letting go. You are releasing those emotional investments that aren't feeling aligned, that aren't feeling great. And yeah, it might require a bit of sacrifice to move on from this, but there is a freedom, there is a beauty, there is a strength on the other side of that that is wanting to grow in its place. And the Four of Cups in reverse, in the background here, there is a dolphin, which represents playfulness. And there's a single cup, not necessarily three. So there's something about quality over quantity here. And I feel like in the month of November, you're going to come to some kind of realization or understanding about a situation that launches you into a new adventure, an adventure of self, an adventure of exploring who you are at the depths, an adventure on reflecting on your choices, maybe even who you are connected with. There's a peer pressure also coming through here as well. So pressure among friends, interconnected relationships, personal relationships, work relationships that maybe you've invested in because there's a sense that this could potentially change or transform. Is that true? Has it transformed? Has it changed over the years? And no matter how much you put into something emotionally or put your time into something, your energy, even your money, at a certain point, there's this stepping back to reflect on, is it helping? Am I doing too much of that emotional labor in order to create change? Am I the only one putting the time, the effort, the energy into this to make it what it needs to be? And I think whatever the situation is, you're coming to realize that nothing that I can invest myself into in this situation is going to turn it into something that I need it to be. So there's a focus on self, and that is not selfish. I believe this is self-care. This is realignment and understanding yourself on a deeper level. It is helping you become more enlightened about who you are, what it is you need, what it is you want, and where it is you would like to go. So don't avoid the questions. Don't avoid the darkness. Because the light is here at the bottom of the deck. You just cannot see it right now. It is dim, but it will return. And I believe it will return in full force. And everything may not happen in the month of November for you, but I believe you're going to come to some kind of decision. You are going to start seeing the glimpses of light within you and the new path that you want to take. And this new path is going to be one foot in front of the other. You're not going to see the entire path. So know that just because you can't envision the future on this new path does not mean it's not for you. Follow your light. Follow what feels true and authentic to you. Follow what feels healthy and for your highest good. And no matter where you find yourself on this path, you cannot go astray so long as you are aligned with all of that. So this is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 1. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for visiting and sharing your story with me. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon. Hello, my Soul Path 2. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Peacock Ore. Now, usually when I get this, I think of a peacock and all of its feathers and self-expression and identity. That could be for some, but what I'm getting with this is someone's trying to see things from different points of view to be able to color their perspective a little bit more. So I feel like you are going to be looking at something in great detail to be able to see the colors, the layers, the details. I feel like there's an understanding here that you are trying to achieve. And maybe even seeing the true colors of something or someone as well. But in order for you to do that, it's like you need to stop and analyze something. Stop and look at something in a new way. Maybe ask questions or look at it in fine detail. So what we are going to do with this reading is I'm going to be pulling a card or two from this deck, and this is what's leaving. Maybe gives us a coloring of what has happened in previous months. And then we're going to look at what is growing in its place or what's incoming. And then we will look at the tarot. So we're going to start out with some channeled messages with the Oracle. For Soul Path 2, what is leaving or transforming for them? What is leaving or transforming for Soul Path 2, please? There's also something about seeing the light in the darkness as well. Because the peacock ore, it looks like a dark stone. But when you put it in a certain light, you can see the colors. What's leaving for Soul Path 2, please? Strongest. Okay, so we got 2 cards. We have Grudges and Burdens with Chains of Vengeance, number 27. And we have the Bell Witch, Scapegoating and Blame. Those are some lovely energies to be moving on from. And this, it may not be a hard stop at the end of October. This could potentially seep into the month of November too. This is something that you could be working through or have already worked through. I feel like you were tied down to something, whether it's a situation or a person. It was kind of driving you nuts. But I feel like there was someone blaming you. So there was a lot of guilt put on you. And so you felt obligated to take on some kind of burden. Maybe there's another person involved that was holding a grudge. And because they meant something to you or you had some kind of connection to them, you took the blame, you took on that burden to fix it and to change it, but it really weighed heavy on you. This feels like a very heavy energy. So you may have been feeling quite fatigued, quite tired. Maybe you might be blaming yourself or blaming others or holding grudges, which need to be released because those are pretty heavy to carry around. And number 18 is the Moon card in the tarot. So this may have left you with a lot of questions. You may have even kept something secret because there was some shame involved. Maybe there was a lot of darkness that you had to move through, and maybe it was affecting your mental health in some way. I feel like you're coming to realize that how other people perceive you or treat you is more of a reflection on them than you. So I feel like you're no longer taking the blame or taking on the burdens of how other people perceive you, how other people treat you, because it is going to have a heavy burden on your spirit, your soul, your mental health. So this could be something that you are realizing or that you have officially let go of. And that is the energy that is leaving, which is fantastic. Because I feel there's a very difficult situation in which you were blamed for many things or took on the blame for many things. And you carried this around for a long time, having difficulty in releasing it. And I believe it really affected how you saw yourself. So let's see. When I think of chains too, I think of the devil energy. So I do feel like this was something that you felt you had to attach yourself to or connect yourself to. But I feel detachment, untangling, uncoupling, that separation that I felt in the very beginning. In the intro, I talked about a slingshot. I talked about two things separating. I do feel like there is that separation happening from you and this situation or this person that has really been quite heavy, quite challenging, even quite toxic. You're breaking those chains. So let's see what is incoming for Soul Path 2. What is replacing this energy for Soul Path 2? Seeing roses. And we got two more. I do want to look at the bottom of both decks here. Betrayal and terror. So there's the moon. With that, yeah. I feel you were really haunted by this. And I don't feel like you're a person who betrayed people, but this is how another person made you feel. So because you wanted to rectify, or rectify is not the right word, but because you wanted to redeem yourself, and I say that in quotes, you felt like you had to apologize for something that someone else did to you. And this created a lot of terror. It created even nightmares. Very, very hard energy. I feel a knife in the heart, and I believe this is a knife in your heart. But other people, there was almost some gaslighting going on as well. That is a very tough energy. But look at that. What you don't see is that you have or are gaining a lot of information and understanding and knowledge about the situation. Even about yourself, you're seeing some kind of truth. Okay, so we have Angel's Trumpet and Ghost Pipe for the incoming energy here. And the words on the Angel's Trumpet is suspicion and turmoil, and then we have reliance and friendship. What's interesting is that the 15 is the devil card in the traditional tarot. So the devil is showing up here, but it's showing up in a very different way. This almost feels like a bit of a mask. This could have something to do with a friendship. And so I think the energy that is incoming isn't necessarily as difficult as what you have come to experience, but it is the coming to terms with. You're seeing things for the truth that they are, and you are working to unravel this, to detach yourself. So it still shows up here, but I believe that this is, instead of it being hidden and suppressed, it's now coming to the surface to be addressed, which is a great thing, because that means that you're finally coming to terms with, you're processing and moving on from. So November is going to, it feels like it's going to be a lot of reaction, a lot of action, a lot of conversation, and a little bit of challenge, possibly a little bit of turmoil, because you are pushing back, you are standing up for yourself, you are detaching. And in that process, it can feel very tumultuous, it can feel very challenging, it can create a lot of change. But I believe that that change will be positive given the situation that you're moving away from and want to move away from, this feels very empowering underneath it all, but on the surface, it feels a little sticky. And what's interesting, and I kind of felt like this was a bit of a mask that is being taken off, and we do have angel referenced here, but we also have the devil referenced here, and this one kind of coming off as innocent and light and beautiful, but really underneath the surface, it is toxic. This particular plant can also be similarly named devil's trumpet because it is a deadly nightshade. So while they might look beautiful, they are poisonous. So I think if you had suspicions about someone, if you had feelings about a particular situation, possibly with a friend or a social connection, a family connection, a romantic connection, I would explore that a little bit more. And I almost wonder if there are groups of friends that either are incoming or you can lean on for support. Because when we think of mushrooms as well, we think of the mycelium network and how the mushroom network underground supports the trees and vice versa. So there's something about supportive connections that you can lean on, whether that is a support group, whether that's a friendship group, somebody that you can rely on to discuss this situation with and possibly offer that different perspective or seeing it from a different point of view to see the true colors of the situation. So again, coming back to that peacock ore and trying to get some more information so that you can see things for their true nature. And that's tough to do when you're close to a particular situation and may have been in it for so long. So let's pull some tarot cards. I would not be surprised if the devil showed up or the moon, but let's see. Your current energy. Well, we have moon-like energy here with the Two of Swords. This is the moon in Libra, so trying to make a decision, not really finding a clear solution, a clear way forward. You don't really know how to make a decision, and you've been in this stalemate for some time because staying feels difficult but familiar, and leaving also feels difficult because there could be some confrontation involved. There could be some tensions. The physical act of moving away from something could be quite challenging as well. So there's a feeling of, do I stay or do I go? And this is going to be less of an intellectual and logical decision and more of an intuitive decision. So what is your body telling you to do? What is your intuition telling you to do? What is in your highest good? And what decision is going to align to that highest good? So let's see what's crossing you, what's challenging you. Yeah, emotions. This feels like a person in your life that you have a heart-centered connection with. They could be very emotionally supportive of you, or you could possibly be emotionally supportive to them. But there is compassion here. There is emotions here, maybe even a deep connection. This could be a romantic partner. This could be a father or some figure in your life that you have had an emotional connection to. So this makes sense that you're having a tough time deciding to stay or to go because there is that emotional connection there. There is that established nature there. There is that maturity there. You could have had this connection for quite some time, maybe your entire life. But the connection may not be healthy. It could be quite turbulent. So when emotions run high, things get really difficult, really challenging. Maybe there's too much emotion, or maybe it is an overwhelming situation when there are stressors or when there is tension. This also may be some guidance here coming through to find support with someone who can create the emotional space for you to work something through here as well. So that could be a counselor, that could be, again, a mentor or somebody that is going to emotionally support you. We have the Two of Cups here. Okay. So this feels like a love connection. We do have the Two of Cups, but I will say that it is an intimate or close connection with you and another, possibly with someone who moves with the heart, who speaks through the heart. There's a lot of passion, a lot of desire, a lot of history, emotional history with them. And right now, it's a little bit up in the air as to how this is going to work out. I feel like that connection is starting to sever due to some kind of factor. Could be what's going on with this energy here, where there's some suspicions, there's maybe some gaslighting, some blame, some shame. And unless that is worked through together, possibly in a professional setting, that may be challenging to move on from. So things are a little up in the air right now. Eight of Swords in the root of the issue. So there's a limitation I feel like you might be putting either on the situation or yourself. And again, I feel that expanded perspective might be really helpful, either to help transform this situation or to help you make a decision about what you need to do. And so don't limit yourself to any kind of restricted idea of what you think you're capable of, what you think a relationship should be, and how you see your future. I feel like there's a feeling of stuckness here, and that could be within the situation, but it also could be within the mind. Whether that's you believing something about yourself, like this is all that I'm worth, or whether it's you believing something about the relationship, like this could potentially change, or this is all that it's going to be. I'm not really sure, but there's something about you limiting. There's a limited or restrictedness around your thinking, around the situation, and it's creating a sense of stuckness. Because it's like, well, yeah. And again, both of these characters here are blindfolded. So it's like you are not seeing things, not seeing the options, the potential, the possibilities, the other options. Let's see what you are aware of, though. The Chariot in reverse. So this is, the wheels have fallen off the chariot when it's in the reverse. It feels like you can't progress beyond where you are. And maybe you are aware of this. Maybe there's a feeling of this will eventually change, or they will see me differently. I just have to wait it out. And that may be true. I'm not sure. But I feel up to this point, or maybe you're getting to a point, a turning point, where you have to make a decision in order for something to change here. In order for you to see that momentum and that progress and that success. Right now, it's not feeling like it's a successful connection. There's a lack of momentum. There's a lack of movement. Maybe even a lack of motivation to move things forward on someone's part here. But the wheels have fallen off. And there's, again, more stuckness energy with the Chariot being in reverse. So you are aware of this, you are seeing it as it is, and now you're wondering, well, where do I go now? Now that I'm aware of this, how do I put the wheels back on? When it comes to two people, it's always a joint effort. So if the other person is not willing to put their equal weight in to shift and change and transform the connection, then you have to ask some more questions about whether this is an equal connection, whether this is a connection that can be done in teamwork, in tandem. Now we have the Three of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles here, which I'm seeing progress in the incoming energy, but it's slow progress. And again, it requires that teamwork. It requires that collaboration, 2 people plus 1 other. So whether that is a friend or somebody that you hire for that support, it's going to help you work together to work something through. Now, this could also help create some new foundations for you as well, something that feels more secure within the connection. But also, I want to open the possibilities up for you to expand your horizons beyond this particular situation. What else could potentially exist? There is an indication here of learning something new or expanding some kind of skill set to be able to create more capacity for something. This also is about, and could be about, your internal foundations within you. So rather than relying on another person, for example, to help you build those foundations, how can you build the foundations for yourself within yourself? So this points to self-growth, self-development, self-improvement, and it's going to create more stability for you, more security. It is going to, I feel like you're going to really protect what you've built once you've built it. So there's something about commitment to the end result, commitment to what it is that you want, what it is you need, what is in alignment with your values here, what is going to create stability, security, comfort for you in the short term. But it's going to be a very slow energy. We have the Knight of Pentacles here at the bottom of the deck. So again, this is one foot in front of the other kind of energy. This isn't that slingshot energy that I talked about in the intro. This is slow and steady progress. This is also progress that requires a conscious and intentional commitment, whether it's from you on this singular journey or with this other person, to be able to unravel and build back stronger. So consider what that stability looks like for you. Consider what a stable and secure relationship or connection looks like for you. Consider what your environment, your physical environment, and maybe other things that support your physical environment and physical body, what does that look like? So again, I feel like there's an exploration, there's a learning here, and there is also opportunity. So don't see this as this is the end. I see this as an evolution of you, an evolution of you and possibly the connection, if that fits. But ultimately, you are moving to a more solid foundations for yourself. But it's going to happen through a little bit of turmoil. It's going to happen through a little bit of confrontation and change. So be open to whatever happens. Find some sense of stability to navigate yourself through this. And open yourself up to what could be, rather than seeing things for what they are and what they have been. I feel like that could really open some things up for you here. So this is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 2. I do hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for visiting and sharing your story with me. It was a pleasure, and I wish you luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon. Hello, my Soul Path 3. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Chrysolite stone. I immediately saw moss when I did a short meditation. It's very soft, moist, damp. There's something about having a soft landing. And I also saw someone trekking on top of a very large hillside. So I also heard it's been a long time. It's been a long journey, is what I'm hearing. So I feel there's been a long, maybe metaphorical or spiritual journey, but there's going to be a soft landing. So what we're going to do is grab some cards from this deck about what is leaving or transforming in your life. And this could be from previous months. And then we're going to pull an oracle card for what is growing in its place or what is incoming. And then we will pull tarot cards for a little more detail. For Soul Path 3, what is leaving or transforming? Okay, so I'm just going to put that here for now. So we have Casquette Girls, Voyage and Fear of the Unknown. And then we have Tailybone, Nagging and Reminders. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have Betrayal and Terror with the Hellhound. So this is very Hanged Man energy, and this is Temperance energy. So again, I'm feeling that journey of that delayed, it's been a long time, it's been a long journey. You've gone on some kind of metaphorical voyage. I feel like you might be working through some of your triggers, and it has been a long journey. Maybe some annoyances or irritations. There's something also to hear about a lot of consumption of news, media, social media, and there's something here possibly about being triggered by that and trying to unravel that. It has been a long time, a long journey to unwind some kind of pattern of behavior, pattern of thinking. There's a habit that I feel needs to be broken, but more deeply, there is a trigger response that you're trying to heal from. And whether this engagement is because genuine interest, we want to be connected and know what's going on, but not to the detriment of our mental health. But I feel that fear might be driving this need to know, driving this need to engage, and which in turn is triggering something within you, irritating you, creating some sort of anger, rage, resentment, even more fear. And yeah, I do feel like this has been a challenge to unwind from. But I feel like this is because this is in the past energy of what you're letting go of. I feel like this is in your full awareness and you are working towards that. Maybe something that is more analog, something that doesn't create terror and unknowns. We have the moon here, which is this energy of unknown. And because this is connected to the Temperance card with the number 14 here, I do feel like you are trying to find some more balance in your life. So that could be the energy of the incoming month, is to create more balance, and you are willing to take on a new journey in order to do this, because maybe you're tired of living in fear, you're tired of being triggered, you're tired of the terror of the world. And to regain balance in order to be maybe helpful to others, helpful to yourself even, something new needs to come through. Something new needs to be a new journey needs to be embarked on. New habits, new routines. So let's look at that. Something I feel has really been nagging at you, like this needs to be addressed or dealt with. It's becoming an issue or a problem or a challenge or an obstacle. But let's see what's incoming. Incoming energy for Soul Path 3, please. What is their soft landing? I'm going to get one more. Oh, Spirit. It's funny. Literally soft. We have cotton as one of your first cards. Spanish moss. Okay. With the sugar maple, there's information and knowledge here. So that could be, to me, this feels very discerning information and knowledge. So only taking in information that you're curious about and need to know for a specific purpose. And we have two cards here. So we have a lot of soft energy here. Oh my goodness. Spirit's on point. So literally soft landing with the cotton, utility and advantage. And then we have the Spanish moss with the number 3, self-expression and flow. And then we have the azalea, which is temperance and calm. So again, that temperance energy at the bottom of the deck there is coming through here. So you are going to find calm. You are going to find a way to temper whatever it is you're trying to temper here and bring back into balance. You are going to find that. And it is going to feel like a soft landing. There is going to be calm, but it's also a choice as well. It's also something that you have to work towards. And when we talked about creating or seeking out information for specific purposes, I'm getting that message here in the cotton with utility and advantage. So 22 is a very stable number. It's a mirrored number. It's choice as well. And it's also a number of foundations as well. So creating a really solid structure or foundation, maybe even a routine, maybe blocking out minutes of the day to be able to gather information. And then after that, move on to something else, maybe in the analog world. And also cotton, because it is a very common and familiar fabric, there's something in your life that could potentially suit you better now or in the future. There's something about resources here which serves a higher purpose that may create comfort, but also ensuring that whatever it is you are engaged in when it comes to those resources, is it creating harm to you or others, or is it helpful to you and others? That might be something to explore in the month of November. And then we have Spanish moss, which is a very divine feminine energy. It's Empress energy. It's very nurturing. There's a lot of flow. There's a lot of patience. Very similar to this azalea card, which is that temperance and calm. So there's something about finding more moments in your day, in your week, in your month that creates a sense of calm. How can you counteract or counterbalance the potential fears of the unknown or the potential triggers? What kind of spaces make you feel temperate and calm? Maybe it's out in nature. Maybe it's in a support group. Maybe it's in a corner of your room where you have your books and your candles and your, I don't know, your blankets. So there's finding moments of a soft landing to be able to temper that energy of fear, of anxiety, and those triggers, to be able to come down from that elevated place and find a little bit more ease. And you are free to set your own rules here and to be as authentic and beautiful and flowy as you see fit. So allow yourself to do that for yourself in the month of November. Yeah, there's something about ease and calm, giving yourself a break as well. So I would not be surprised if Temperance came through, if the Empress came through, if even the Hanged Man came through. So let's see your current energy. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, this is discernment. This is taking a step back to review, to assess, to determine what is being fruitful for you and helpful and what is not. What are the things that you are investing your time, your energy, even your money into that is serving a higher good or a higher purpose for yourself? And what is not? What is harmful? What is creating an environment where those triggers can come through really easily? So there's something about stepping back to take a look at things, to take your time doing that as well, to not be impulsive in that process, but to almost observe, step back and observe. When I do this, this is my reaction. And maybe journaling will be helpful for you to be able to see some patterns. So I do feel like seeing some patterns from a very objective place is going to be helpful here. What's challenging that? 3 of Cups. I feel like you want to be in connection with the world, with community, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this could also be disconnecting you from maybe a more analog community where you have face-to-face connections and can have that physical support in your world, in your life. And that might help you be more objective, because it's really tough online, especially with AI these days, to know what's true, what's not. And the algorithms are fed by engagement. And how do they create engagement? Through inflammatory headlines, divisional articles, and then that just feeds the beast, if you will. So be mindful of that and the communities that you find yourself in. Make sure that the communities are feeling joyful and aligned and not necessarily comforting at all times, because there is a need and a requirement to push our own boundaries a little, to be able to see other people's perspectives and points of view without judgment, and to expand our own horizons and knowledge base. But we also have to have discernment in that and make sure that we aren't reacting from a place of fear, reacting from a place of stress, and that kind of the lower self, if you will. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. What's interesting is that this energy is very stable. It is very comforting. It is very nurturing. So I think that is an energy that you are and have been seeking in the past, to find ways to slow down, maybe find environments that make you feel more secure and comforted. But I think there's something about getting wrapped up in maybe the external world or the internet, or getting wrapped up in something that is out of your control. And that is really compromising this sense of stability for you. Let's get some more information about the root of this. Yeah, we've got stability here. There's a lot of stability energy coming through. So I think you are in search of that stability. You're in search of that security. And so there's this external exploration for that wherever you see fit, whether that's online or in books, but could be in videos as well, like this one. There's a seeking out of that soft landing. There is a seeking out of tampering the fears, and how do I do this? How do I work through this? And so I think you're very aware of this. I think you're on the right track, is the message that I'm getting from Spirit about your month of November and where you find yourself now. You are in that energy of observation of, holy cow, I have to make some shifts. I have to do something a little bit differently. And I'm just going to look at this Queen of Cups. So yeah, again, creating that emotional space to be able to feel emotionally secure and stable, calm. Again, I'm getting that temperance and calm energy. So this is in your full awareness, and this is who you want to step into. There's almost like a shift in energy here for you, where the past is this Queen of Pentacles energy, where you've worked really hard to create a sense of stability and comfort for yourself. But now, instead of it being in your physical body or your physical environment, now it's about the emotions. How do you create emotional stability, emotional security for yourself? And to be able to still engage with the world and the events of the world, but be able to maintain. Again, that temperance energy is coming through so strongly, and that balance between darkness and light, of groundedness and emotionality, and that compassion and empathy, that creativity, but also staying grounded in the practical realities of the world as well. So beautiful, beautiful. Even in these two queens here, we've got the groundedness of that temperance card and the emotions of that temperance card. So again, finding that balance. And let's see, incoming. Ooh, this is beautiful energy too. This is having willpower. This is having strength, courage, leadership to chase the things that really make you feel passionate, that really make you feel inspired. to move, to create. There is something about creation energy here. So when these things are balanced, you're able to create something and nurture something for yourself or for other people or for both. But I do feel like this is self-expression. This is flow at its finest. There's a fire. There is an energy behind this, but it only comes when there is balance between those two polarities. You're able to, like the Temperance card, you're able to move forward in a very balanced way, in a very neutral way, but not in a disconnected way. You're able to take inspired action, and you're able to even make change and create change that you would like to see within your life and within the communities around you, because you've taken the time to assess some things, to learn some things, to balance some things, and that creates that movement forward. Bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. So there's some things that could potentially be, there's some stagnancy here. So there could be some things that you have to do over and over again before you get into this Knight of Wands energy, where you're starting to see things move forward, you're starting to see progress. Because I feel there's something here, possibly within the mind, that has to be reviewed, that has to be discerned, that has to be understood before you can really start to see progress. Because there's some information, and we saw that, where did we see that? At the bottom of this deck? Yeah, there's some information and knowledge that you have to understand about cycles, about maybe mental health, maybe an understanding of your past to create that balance. And I believe that is something that is going to be a strong focus in the month of November, is how do you find balance? How do you find calm? How do you find practices, routines, things that you can do over and over again to naturally get you into that balance, which is what I'm feeling for that Six of Swords. So you may not see a ton of progress in the month of November when it comes to where you want to go, what you want to create. I do feel like this is more of a review month for you, and a going over, implementing a practice, for example, so that you can have a soft landing or soften the edges of something a little bit. I'm excited to see where you go from here. So these are the messages I have for you, my dear Soul Path 3. I hope they were helpful. Thank you for visiting and sharing your story with me today. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon.